Good day. Today is August the 17th, 2022. And in my Walking the Tao, I'm looking at Chapter 3 of the Tao Te Ching. Chapter 3 states, "To value wealth and status is to honor robbery and fraud. This creates a country of thieves. The Tao is a path of quiet minds, a way of simple living. It empties us of desires and fills us with contentment. We are therefore not fooled by the empty words of consumerism, nor led astray by clever propaganda. Our life becomes pure, simple, and effortless." In Chapter 3, Lao Tzu moves into his area of social critique. He was a rebel. He was basically a non-violent anarchist. He believed that the natural contentment of human beings was to live within small villages of a few hundred people, where a village could decide for itself what its best interests were. But he lived in a time of the Warring States period in China and the rise of Confucianism as the structure of the state, of obligations to the state and to those above you in status. He was watching society change from predominantly 90% rural, self-sustaining villages to a pyramidal structure in which the power became more and more concentrated in a few places at the top of the political ladder, and the wealth became concentrated in a few places at the top of the economic ladder. And the majority of people, instead of contributing to their own welfare, were contributing more and more to the welfare of those above them on this status pyramid. Lao Tzu believed that this was contrary to the Tao, and that the pyramidal structure of wealth and the pyramidal structure of power was essentially robbery and fraud, and created a country of thieves. Let's be honest. We have indeed created a country, a society of thieves. In order to create a pyramid of power and a pyramid of wealth, the power and the wealth must flow from below and essentially rob the lower levels of that pyramid of wealth and esteem and worth and power. The only way that the top of a pyramid of wealth or power can be supported is by having the bottom of the pyramid compliant, dependent, and controllable. We've turned into a nation of thieves. And the only way out, Lao Tzu determined, was a path of quiet minds and simple living. If my desires are simple and my longing is for a way of life that is ordinary and sustainable, if I don't buy into the idea that somehow my job is to move up on this pyramid basically that is a multi-level marketing device, and multi-level marketing, as you know, is thievery and robbery. It depends on the illusion that I can move up this pyramid and that there will always be a bottom of this pyramid, controllable, dependent, and low enough in self-worth to put up with it. But if I don't have the desire to move up. If I operate from a basic sense of contentment and no longer believe that achievement and status and power leads to the good life, then I tend to opt out of the whole structure. I still, of course, have to make my way in the world, but I'm no longer susceptible to the propaganda and the advertising that keeps me content with constantly striving, where my constant striving does nothing but support the top of the pyramid. It's a difficult concept for my conditioned mind to accept. It requires the assumption that a quiet mind and a contented mind does not lead to complacency and inertia and resignation. It also implies that desiring something may not be the best way to achieve that something. That desire doesn't lead to having, but only to another level of desire. The sage's job, the Taoist's job, Lao Tzu suggests, is to help stop this conditioned way of thinking about happiness and wealth. How do I live a simple life of contentment? I can't answer that for another person. I know that my life has always been a struggle to find what seemed to me an appropriate way of living. And I sensed that the higher up on that pyramid I was pressured to move, the more I depended on those below me on the pyramid having less than enough. My way of living depends on millions of people struggling day to day to put food on the table. This is the truth. I don't have a political answer to that. I don't have a structural answer to that. I believe such answers exist, but they will require a transformation in thinking, a transformation of the very paradigm of what it means to be a human being on earth. The best you and I can do is to allow some sort of transformation to occur within us. And to the degree that we are able, step out of the pyramid. No longer participate in the lies and the thievery and the fraud that keeps the pyramid in place. Lots of it is unconscious and we won't be able to notice it. But some of it is becoming conscious, isn't it? Aren't you beginning to see the way the robbery and fraud occurs? Aren't you being able to see how the propaganda and the commercialism and the advertising media snookers you into feeling that you can move up on this pyramid without causing any harm? That you can move up on the pyramid and ignore what's happening below you on the pyramid? We're seeing in our world the results of that ignorance. It will either lead to transformation or an upheaval and a violent revolution such as we've never seen before. Which it will be will depend on those of us kind of in the middle of the pyramid, deciding that we're no longer going to support the thievery and the fraud. I don't have a political agenda here. I'm just calling attention to the idea that we've been sold a bill of goods and it has not made us happy, and that our contentment and our joy comes from stepping aside and returning to that which truly satisfies us. And I know that you'll say, well, it's not that easy, and I've got this in my life and I've got that in my life. I understand. I do too. That does not excuse me or you from noticing what's going on and taking whatever action is possible in our particular situation to move into accordance with what is true and simple and good and joyful. Now, Lao Tzu, every now and then, through his little book, steps into the arena of social critique. I will too. That'll be part of our journey. I need it. Well, I hope this little walking in the Tao has given us something to think about, not in a self-punishing way, not in a urgent or, oh my God, it's all wrong way, but just in a noticing way. A willingness to look at what is actually true and what actually we want out of life. I enjoy this. I enjoy sharing with you. I look forward to tomorrow, when a little bit farther down the road, we'll continue to walk together through the Tao. Blessings to you.